You're listening to Release Your Resistance to Journaling with Bex Beltran, Season 5, Episode 1. Welcome to Release Your Resistance. This is Bex. For the first 4 seasons of this podcast, we focused on resistance in general. Learning about it, sharing examples and stories, and tools and techniques to recognize and release your resistance. Now, in Season 5, let's focus on what has become another of my favorite topics, journaling. So this season, the episodes will be about how to release your resistance to journaling so you can journal as consistently as you want in the ways that work best for you and your lifestyle right now. Let's talk about how you can get all the benefits of journaling. Here we go. Today we are exploring enjoyable journaling techniques. I am sharing practical tips to find your ideal journaling style, and you can learn how journaling enhances personal growth. Many people don't continue or even start to journal because they're worried about doing it right. Or if they do try to journal once or twice, maybe they don't enjoy the practice or the process of writing. Maybe they just haven't found the specific journaling technique that they do enjoy. The journaling technique or techniques that do provide benefits to them. Sometimes people start journaling and then they don't get enough benefits soon enough so that they prioritize consistent journaling as a habit. That's why you hear people saying, well, I tried journaling and then I didn't stick with it. Or I bought a new journal and I was excited to use it, then I wrote in it a few times and the rest of the pages are blank. I don't want this to happen to you. I want you to find an enjoyable journaling technique that works for you personally. I want you to get the benefits of journaling as quickly as possible. There are so many benefits to journaling. If you just Google what are the benefits of journaling, you will find so many. Improved cognition, better memory, more peace, better sleep. There are physical benefits. There are mental benefits. There are social benefits. There are just so many benefits to journaling. Specifically, one of the benefits is that as you journal consistently, which by the way doesn't have to mean every single day, you can start to see your own transition and growth. Above and beyond all of the other benefits that are measured by social scientists and researchers, just the fact that you could do an activity on your own time with whatever resource you want to use, either your phone or a notebook or a beautiful curated journal or some art supplies or whatever you decide to use, you could start to see your own evolution. You could start to see how you are navigating all the different directions that your life is taking and how that navigation is helping you to evolve and become the next version of yourself. There's no one right way to journal. You might have an idea or an image or an expectation of how to journal correctly or how to journal the right way. The great news is there is no one right way. There is no one perfect journal or one perfect style of journaling for any one individual person. You can experiment with different techniques. You can start journaling today or this week in one way, and then you can switch it up after trying it for a while, and you can notice this technique works better for me, or I prefer this more than that. Then you just pivot and keep going. That is the key. Just keep going. Yes, you can change your journaling technique. Yes, you can change your journaling modality. Just don't stop. As you continue to journal and start to see the benefits and start to feel more comfortable in your journaling practice, you will also start to notice what you prefer and what works better for you. Expect your journaling practice and preferences to change, especially as your life changes. For example, if you start journaling at a certain time of day and then your schedule changes, it's likely that your journaling time could change too. If you start journaling in a specific modality, let's say in a beautiful notebook that is special to you and that has exactly the right weight and shade of paper with a special pen, and then you fill up that book, you might end up using a different kind of notebook next. you might switch to something less formal or more readily available. On the other hand, if you start with a simple notebook from the grocery store or your favorite online retailer and you fill that up, now you might realize, wow, I'm going to upgrade. I'm going to pick out a beautiful special notebook for myself because I really enjoy this and because it makes me feel good. When you have less time in your schedule, in your life, you might find that your journaling sessions become shorter. You might go from journaling sessions that feel very expansive with a lot of time to sit and think, and you might shorten that down to 20 minutes with a timer so that you can really pack it in during that time. Or you could even shorten it down to 1 line a day. Any way you decide to journal, it is still journaling and it is still beneficial. When you need to process lots of emotions and lots of memories, you might find yourself journaling for longer periods of time. Depending on what's going on with you, you might even journal more than once a day for a little stretch of time. Just because you journal more than once a day, 2 or 3 days in a row, doesn't mean you now have that as your new journaling practice and that you must continue. It's all customizable. I noticed this in my own journaling routine last year. I saw that in the summer, when I was mentally more distracted and easily distractible, my journal entries weren't as long. And this past winter, though, I started a specific introspective challenge that included so many new to me journaling prompts and topics to reflect on. My journal entries became long, in-depth, and complex over those weeks. You get to start and stop different elements of your journaling practice as they suit you. So to give you some ideas, I have 10 different journaling techniques to share with you. I'm just offering them to you so that you can think about and consider them, and maybe you'll incorporate a few of them or experiment with one of them. Or maybe you'll hear me talk about these journaling techniques and know immediately, that's not for me. She's offering that and that's a no. That's fine. But just so you have plenty to choose from, here are 10 different journaling techniques for you to consider and experiment with. Number 1 is journal in a noisy place. Take yourself to a coffee shop or a mall or a train station or some other place where there's people and activity and noises happening and see what it's like to journal there. As you're sitting with your journal and have all the noise and commotion happening around you, you're really centering your mind on what you're writing on the page. It's almost like a reverse meditation. Conversely, number 2 is to journal in a quiet place. Find a library, a space in your home, or a study room where no one else is and there's no other noises happening. There's nothing else except for just the sound of your thoughts. Number 3 is to journal with other people. If you follow me and know me, you know that I am a big supporter of the idea of journaling alone together. I run journaling groups where we all come together and we set the timer and we journal together alone. And then when the timer goes off, we close our books and then we talk, sometimes about journaling, sometimes about whatever we want. You can journal with other people, either in person or on a Zoom call. You can check my upcoming journaling events by going to bexb.org/let's meet. You can journal in list form. This is number 4. Did you know that you don't have to write your journaling entries in a paragraph or sentence format? You can decide on a topic and make a list of answers to that topic. For example, 5 things that I deserve credit for, or 10 things I'm looking forward to this next month. I have a podcast episode explaining how to do this. You can find it at bexb.org/list-of-10. That's LISTOF10. You'll also find the link to that episode in the show notes for this episode at bexb.org/enjoy, ENJOY. All right, number 5 is junk journaling. Google this one. Look for images. This is amazing. People become so creative and resourceful. You can pull all sorts of different tactical, tangible elements together and create your own piece of art, basically. Your journal creation can represent what you're thinking and what you're feeling and what you're processing and what calls to you and what inspires you. Number 6 is bullet journaling. This is a journaling technique created by Ryder Carroll. He invented this journaling technique as a way to organize his thinking, and people have taken his invention and just created everything from the most simple, which was his initial creation, to the most artistic and expressive. If you're curious, please look up what is bullet journaling. You can find a description of it and decide if that style of journaling would work for you. Art journaling is the next technique I'm offering you. This is number 7, and this style lets you use a notebook and a pen, and you can bring your paints, you can bring glitter, washi tape, pictures, photos, stickers, markers, and all sorts of things, and just decorate and embellish your journal in the most artistic way. Number 8 is dream journaling. This technique is the one that I do really often whenever I dream and I remember my dream. When you wake up in the morning, or even in the middle of the night, depending on when you wake up after a dream, write down all the elements of the dream, and then, if you want, you can even interpret the dream. I have a podcast episode explaining how to do this at bexby.org/dreams. Number 9 is prompted journaling. This is the one that I recommend for new journalers or returning journalers. It is so much easier and you get so many more benefits from using prompts. If you have the issue of not knowing what to write or not enjoying your journaling sessions or not feeling invigorated and inspired by what you write, choosing some thoughtful and empowering journaling prompts can help your journaling come to the next level. You can use the prompts that I provide. I'll send you 52 journal prompts if you sign up for my weekly gentle journaling check-in at bexby.org/weekly, or you can do a search for journaling prompts, or you can get a deck of beautiful prompts in the form of cards. For example, Tosha Silver has a beautiful deck called Divine Abundance. It's a deck of oracle cards, and I love using those as journal prompts and looking at the artwork and reading the description. The 10th way that I like to recommend for people to journal is using a template or a worksheet. I have a number of these for you, and in this journaling technique, you are using the same set of questions on every set of pages. Every time you think about using this style of journaling, you would just take yourself through the worksheet and answer all the same questions for this new situation or this new period of your life. I also use templates. For example, in my own monthly interview process every month, I ask myself the same set of questions. Then from month to month, I can see what's changed, what's new, what's different, what's the same. I really enjoy looking forward to this practice every single month. So there you go, 10 journaling techniques. Hopefully you found one or more that catches your interest. So do you have some new ideas now or some motivation for some different ways you could journal? Remember to let your journaling practice evolve and grow with you naturally. What sounds enjoyable to you? And here's your next step. A specific thing that you can do now is to put a few of these journal techniques to the test to see what you do enjoy. Try 2 or 3 of the techniques I shared to learn what might work for you as you navigate where you currently are in life or as you transition from the type of journaler you currently are to a new kind of journaler. The featured notebook for this week is called Journal for People Who Hate to Write. It incorporates the vibe of many of the techniques that I shared. There are a mix of journal page types in this notebook, including question and answer sections, completing pictures or drawing prompts, mind maps, fill-in-the-blank exercises, and invitations for doodling. You can see a tour of this notebook on YouTube, and the link for that is in the show notes for this episode. This notebook gives you 6 weeks worth of daily reflection exercises, and it takes away the burden of brainstorming topics or prompts. This notebook makes journaling more accessible and engaging for people who hate to write. And if you want to journal with me and you're listening to this the week that I'm posting it, join me for a journaling meetup in person next Saturday, January 13th, 2024 in Gilbert, or on Zoom on January 18th. You can get all the details for these meetups that I just mentioned, plus meetups in the future, at bexby.org/letsmeet. And in non-journaling news, if you want to get creative with paint and canvas instead of pen and paper, join me in Chandler this coming Wednesday evening for an Intentional Woman paint party. You can see a sample of the art piece that we'll be creating and all the details at bexby.org/let's meet. And if this coming Wednesday doesn't work for you, but you do want to paint with me, check out our other upcoming paint parties that I'll be hosting. Thank you so much for listening. Join me next week when we talk about using journaling to relieve stress. You know what I'm really good at? Asking questions, then listening to the answer and redirecting you if you didn't answer, then showing you your thoughts from how you answered. That is part of what coaching with me is like. I don't have an agenda for you. I don't think I know better than you. I do believe in you and your capacity. If you tell me what you want for yourself, I believe it. I can see it for you. I can show you the thoughts that are keeping you from getting what you want. Then you can drop those thoughts and go get what you want. Coaching really works. Come to my site at bexby.org/coaching and book a session with me. This has been Release Your Resistance. Thank you for listening. If you like this podcast, make sure you're subscribed and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Also, think about someone who you know who would love this episode and share it with them. There should be a share button on your app if you're listening to this on your phone. If you'd like to continue this conversation one-on-one or in real time, come visit me on my site at bexby.org to see how we can work together.